Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I am here today with 3 books that I'm going to talk about that I have read recently. 1 non-fiction and 2 fiction books. So, I think these are my 2 last reads of June. I think they will be in my June wrap-up as well. As will all of these 3 will be, I think. So, these are the books I'm going to talk about today. And the first one is, it's by a Finnish author. It's called Arvejord by Maria Turtschaninoff. Or Maria Turtschaninoff. I don't know how she pronounces her name. So, this is from the library. You can see the little sticker up there. And this book was a 5-star for me. So when I went, I had different expectations going into this than what I ended up with. So I'm gonna start by letting you know what it's about, and then I'm gonna talk about my thoughts and what I expected and what I got. So this book is about, I would say it's about a farm somewhere in Finland. And we follow the people on that farm throughout the 1600s, the 1700s, the 1800s, the 1900s, and the early 2000s. So instead of following one person, we follow a farm and its residents, and these people are somewhat related to each other, but sometimes it's we follow like one person, and then that, you know, family line for some generations. So like the bloodline is like this, and then it might be that someone is marrying someone and they already have kids, and they don't have any kids together, and then the farm goes to that side of the family. So it's not the same bloodline all the way through the book, but it's the same place. It's, yeah, that's kind of what it's about. I can read the back of it, just give you maybe another image of what it is about. Man's and forest's roots go deep. With an urn in her embrace, a woman finds herself outside a quiet house in a big forest. When the last can of her mother's lingonberry jam is finished, she's the oldest one in the family. Now the house, the land, and the forest is hers to take over. So in the back it says, first it mentions the woman that we first meet in the book. So in the first chapter of the book, we actually are in the present time. And then we found out that her mother has died, and she's left the family farm, which is called Minnesvärt. And as she is thinking about what she's gonna do with this farm, we then go back in time all the way to the 1600s and then onward. And then on the back it says, I can't translate it. I tried 2 times to translate it word for word, but it just sounded weird. But it basically says that we get to follow, for 400 years, we get to follow the destinies of all the people that can be connected to this family farm of Minnesvärt. They live often with nature among golden, I don't know the word for that berry, but you can say golden berries. I think that might be the word. And sacred trees, mystical animals, and spirits of the forest. War, plagues, and heartbreak put the people through hell. It kind of does. But the forest is their safety and their home. And this has actually won some awards, so I know it said in the back of the book that it's been translated into 20 languages, so it should be available if you look up the author. So what did I think of this book? So I was under the impression that this had something to do with Sapmi roots. I think that's how I talked about it in my June TBR video. I think I said something like that. Because I had heard about it from a friend that's read it, and I don't know where I got Sapmi roots from. Maybe they have Sapmi roots, but you know, it doesn't say anything about it, so I don't know where I got it from. But oh my goddess, this book was so amazing, and it was so tough to read. My heart broke like once every chapter, because basically every chapter we follow a new person on this farm, and we follow them for like a snippet of their lives. And most often I realize now that no matter when we started following them, they were gonna die. They were gonna die. So not right then, but soon enough. And we follow a lot of people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16 people at least during these 400 years. And their struggles, and like the back of the book said, like war and plague and heartbreak, and it was just so tough. I cried and I cried and I cried, and this just tugged at my heartstrings, and I love it. It has got a bunch of tabs that I'm gonna have to write down these quotes. When I started reading it, I soon understood that I couldn't write down every person. I had to, because usually I make a list of all the important people and characters in a book, and I couldn't with this one because there were so many people. So I just settled for the name of the family, Nevabacka, and then one of the other ones that were like closely related to it. It was like a cottage on the farm, and some of the family always lived there as well, but they got another name. And the thing is, during this time, but in Sweden as well, like the 1600s and 1700s, people often got their last names from the farm name. So all of the people living on that farm was called Nevabacka in as their last name. So that made it kind of easy. I could have just picked the last name of all the people instead of every name. And I could definitely see myself reading this again, but with a tissue at hand from the start. So yeah, 5 stars. The second book, I read somewhat along. I read it after this one, or alongside it, I think, because I read these 2 books. So Arvejord and this one that I'm holding, I read those after I had DNF'd 2 other books and was just like so low. I was like on my way into a slump. So that's when I picked up this one, because I knew I was gonna love it. And I also picked up Arvejord, and I read them like at different times of day. So this is the 5th book in the Bridgerton series. The original title for this one is what's the original title? To Sir Philip with Love. So in this book we follow Eloise Bridgerton and her exchanging of letters with Sir Philip. So Sir Philip's wife passes away, and Eloise Bridgerton is a letter writer. She loves to write letters, and she writes condolence letters to everyone. And she's like a distant cousin on twice removed or something with his wife, or his late wife. So when she dies, her name is Marina, Eloise writes to Philip and says how sorry she is for his loss, etc. And they start an exchange. And then 1 year later, Philip says, I think we should meet and see if we have if we like each other enough to be married, because he wants a new mother to his children, because he thinks he's a terrible father. And there's some twists and turns, mainly because he forgets to tell Eloise that he has kids. So the story kind of kicks off when she arrives at his doorstep. And I really enjoyed the Bridgerton series. I loved the first book, and after reading the second book I realized that okay, these are like copy paste in a way, but in a good way for me. So I really enjoy the way that these are written, and that we get to follow the entire family. It's like a guilty pleasure kind of book for me, or series. So I have all 8 of them, which is rare for me to invest in a complete series before reading them. And I annotate them all, and I use tabs that correspond with the front of. So I only mark what I like, and I use only one color, like this, and then one color tab. I don't have like categories and stuff. I just, except for in one book where there was a lot about like a special subject, and then I used two color tabs for that one. So yeah, I gave this a 5-star because this just followed the same concept. It's a concept that I like. It's written in a way that I have come to enjoy, and I read it quickly, so quickly. And I plan to read all of the 8 books before I watch the Netflix series, and hope it doesn't go away before I'm there, because these are books like they are standalone books, but they're a part of a series, which means that I don't feel like I have to read them back to back, and I can save them for when I feel like I did this time. Like, oh, I have had bad reading experiences with DNFs and whatnot, and I need something to pick me up and help me, move forward. Then I can pick a Bridgerton book because I know I'm gonna like it. And even though I was so fed up with romances before this was fine. This was enjoyable. There are some spice in it, especially towards the last third of the book. But it was on a level that I could handle, even though I was fed up with romances. So yeah. And then I have one book left, and that is actually the book for my book club. I host a book club on Fable in Swedish called Magisk läsning med koala. I am koala. And it's a magical reading with koala, and we read books within animism, shamanism and witchcraft. And mostly non-fiction books, I think I've stated that we only read non-fiction books. So the plan was to read one book in 2 months to give everyone a chance to really immerse themselves in the book and to have time to read the whole books before the last date. And on top of the Fable app, those services, I also host a live on my other channel talking about this book with the people that read it together with me. I host a live, and then they talk in the chat, and I actually have my first live tonight, and it's about this book that we read. We gave it an extra month, so we read it from the 9th of April to the last of June, and it's The 4 Insights by Alberto Villoldo. It's a book in the concept of shamanism, so it's called The Earth Keepers: Knowledge, Wisdom and Power. And this book is it's educational, so it's an educational book within shamanism. And Alberto Villoldo is a teacher at the Four Winds Society in I think it's in US or maybe Central America. I don't know where they are, but I think because I took a course with him, and I think I paid to the US when I did that, but it was a course on Zoom. So I'm not really sure where they are, where they are physically. But anyway, this is a book about the 4 insights, and the 4 insights are... No, I don't know all the 4 insights. let's see. First insight, the way of the hero. Second insight, the light warrior's path. Third insight, the seer's path. And the fourth insight, the wise man's or wise person path. I don't know the English title of that. I think it's the path of the wise, when I think about it. Because on Fable the book was in English, but I read it in Swedish. So I annotated the F out of this. A lot of tabs. A lot of tabs in this book. I started off with a clear system, and then I tried my best to keep to it, but I had to add some categories. So I annotated the Leica wisdom, concepts of Aini. I had one for my own notes and one for the exercises. So this book is divided in. The chapters are divided into the insights with smaller chapters in between, and then shamanic practices that you can do in between, as you follow along with the book. So it's like you go from knowing nothing to knowing some more and have had some practice in shamanism along the way. And I gave this book a 4-star out of 5 because overall I like it. But it has been a while since it was published, and as someone who's taken a course with the Four Winds, or 2 courses actually, I know that they have also evolved since this book was written. So some of the things in this are different, slightly different from what Alberto told us when I took the course. So like the people that took the course. So with that, and then there's some stuff that didn't resonate with me personally, where I have been taught other things. And I am a shamanic practitioner in the Nordic tradition, and I mainly, when I take courses in different shamanic practices, I like to widen my horizon. I like to expand my toolbox, shamanic toolbox. When I do, I usually do it with concepts or ideas or practices that doesn't have a place in my Nordic practice, that are different. And in this book there was a lot of things that were similar. There were some things that were new. I have read this one like 5 years ago, so it wasn't new, but you understand. So some of it was resonating with my normal practice. Some of it was outside of that and was new to me, and I absorbed it. And then there was some of it that was that had their own place in my practice, but it didn't resonate with me because we practice slightly different, even though it's the same purpose. And with that said, I think it was mostly the things that didn't resonate with me because it felt like old news in the way of I know that Alberto and his team have moved on from it. So I gave it a 4-star because I think if I rate a non-fiction book in this type of book 5-star, it's because I felt like it helped me, and I absorbed the whole of it, like the complete work of it. And but I settled on a 4-star, and I'm content with that. Yeah, I think so. But I can understand why other people feel it's a 5-star or a 3-star or whatever. It's fine by me. Or if someone doesn't like it at all. So we in the book club, we went into this in different ways. Some people went into it with wanting to do the exercises as well as me, and other people just wanted to read it and absorb the knowledge and don't do the exercises or practices. I ended up doing maybe a handful of the exercises and practices, simply because the other ones didn't resonate with me in this time in my personal development, personal path or journey. It doesn't mean that they are bad or that they aren't. You shouldn't do them. It's because I didn't need them right now. Some of them I will do in the future. Some of them I will probably never do, and that's fine. So those are some of the things that we will talk about tonight, but the live is in Swedish, and it's been there, done that when you see this. So, these are the 3 books that I have read recently and talked about in this video, and I will see you in my next video, or your next video, whatever comes first, and enjoy your reading this summer. I do my very best to do so myself. Xingling!